Yo, what is up everybody? It is me, SketchAV, and today we're here for another Pokemon video. It's been a while since I've recorded a video, and it's definitely been a while since I've recorded a Pokemon video. I don't really have a lot of these before, like I've only made like 2 Pokemon videos, so don't judge me if the commentary is rusty, because like I said, it has been a minute and a half, but today we are taking on Bash, coach of the New York Muse, as we go into our semifinals battle. Pretty hype. Winner of this actually goes to the finals of the UPC. So let's just get right into the team matchup. We are rocking with these top 2 teams here. We have Kyogre, Landorus, Necrozma, Manectric, Mega, Kingdra, Klefki, Tornadus, Amoonguss, Scrafty, Miltank, Armaldo, and Beartic. I feel like I'm doing the Poke Rap over here. And Bash's team has Mega Metagross, Tapu Koko, Tornadus, Mamoswine, Entei, Kommo-o, Umbreon, Roserade, Jellicent, Silvally, Mudsdale, and Alolan Raichu. As I was preparing, the ones that seemed like the biggest threats that I could definitely see him bringing were the Metagross, Koko, Tornadus, Mamoswine, Roserade, Jellicent, and Alolan Raichu. I didn't really expect to see Entei, Kommo-o, Umbreon, Silvally, or Mudsdale this time around. He did actually have the Silvally last time, but I didn't really expect to see it this time. He could bring Umbreon, and it was definitely something I was afraid of, but I kind of felt like the other Mons just kind of shined a little bit better. Shined? Shone? I don't know, you know what I mean. But I do still have like some prep to deal with Umbreon. I just didn't want to like get too focused on the Umbreon. Like I almost ran like Bugginium, Necrozma just to deal with it, and I realized it's probably just me overthinking if I really prep that hard for the Umbreon this time around. But the team that we actually ended up bringing, we start off with Bubble Buddy, our Assault Vest Kyogre. We have a lot of HP investment, as you can see. Pretty decent but def investment with a calm nature. And that is to make sure that we take 2 Thunderbolts from Alolan Raichu in Electric Terrain, as well as 2 Thunderbolts from Tapu Koko in the Electric Terrain, just because like those are his main answers to this, I think. He does have Roserade as well, which is a special attacker, so like it's not like the Assault Vest is hurting me in that kind of battle. We do have, we don't really need any, like, non-attacking moves in this match that I can think of. Like, Calm Mind might be nice, but, like, I don't really imagine him letting me set up Calm Minds either. So, we just have Origin Pulse, Ice Beam, Thunder, and Surf. I think those get the job done. Origin Pulse in case I really need to hit something hard. Like, that Surf just isn't picking up the kill on. Ice Beam for the Roserade switch-in, and Thunder for the Jellicent switch-in, since those are his main switches for Kyogre. Ice Beam also helps with the Kommo-o switching, since that also resists water, but I don't really think that Kommo-o is going to be broad, and if it does, I don't really think it's going to be like a defensive Kommo-o. We have my boy DJ Khaled here, the Klefki, because you know DJ Khaled's got the keys, but he's got Spikes, dual screens with the Light Clay, as well as Toxic. I really feel like Reflect is going to be pretty big in this battle, so I end up bringing it for stuff like the Mamoswine and the Mega Metagross because I don't have a lot of answers to that on my team, like a lot of defensive switch-ins. Like, if you think about like my defensive Pokemon, like I have Amoonguss, which just gets like destroyed by both Mega Metagross and Mamoswine, and I guess Miltank is a defensive switch-in too, but I didn't really think that Miltank was going to be doing the most in this battle. So I decided Reflect is definitely going to help slow down the momentum of those kinds of mons. I almost ran Thunder Wave to slow down the Mega Metagross, but I figure he has switch-ins like Tapu Koko or Alolan Raichu to that, so Toxic might actually be a little bit better. And Toxic is actually, it's actually mainly there for the Umbreon. Like I said, like I do prep for it a little bit in case it does show up, because I don't want to get like hard walled by it. We can just go for the Toxic and not have to worry about the Synchronize since we are Steel type, making Klefki the best thing to actually go for Toxic against that. And outside of Amoonguss probably deals with that a little bit better, but yeah, I think Klefki definitely can do some really nice things. Definitely be the key to victory, if you will, with the double screens. And the Spikes are pretty nice as well, just because you know, Mega Metagross resists Stealth Rocks, but I do want to get like that chip on it whenever it switches in to kind of like whittle it down, because Mega Metagross is a bulky man. It eats a lot of hits pretty well, so definitely getting that chip will be pretty helpful in the battle. Moving on, we got my boy Raiden here. pretty standard set. Like, it's hard to be creative with Mega Manetric sets, you know, like, if you've ever used it, then you know what I mean. Like, it only uses a few moves pretty well, that being like Thunder or Thunderbolt, Flamethrower or Overheat, Volt Switch, and like HP Ice, which I didn't really need in this battle. Like, HP Ice wasn't really that necessary, but I do actually have the Protect this time, and that's to kind of stall out the electric terrain turns in case I'm about to get swept by like a Alolan Raichu. I just need like that one extra turn to get rid of his terrain. Protect is nice for that. We also have like Volt Switch for momentum, Thunder because I can abuse the rain and it won't miss, and Overheat. I know that Mamoswine has Thick Fat, but that's kind of my only way to touch his ground type, is with that Overheat. So if the rain's not up, like if it's like rain up and Thick Fat Mamoswine, then that's not really going to be doing a whole lot, but it's definitely nice to have there just in case, and it's also nice for the Mega Metagross to just kind of get rid of that. I'm pretty sure it hits it hard. I don't remember the exact calc, but it does do some nice damage. Moving on, we got my command here, my Genie with Choice Scarf. I did actually bring Scarf Lando against him last time, just because it does its job so well. You know, it's mainly here for stuff like the Mega Metagross at base 110 speed, Tapu Koko at base 130, and Alolan Raichu, as long as the terrain's not up, is threatened out by it as well. So just like that Scarf Earth Power is really nice. His switch-in, of course, being Tornadus, like 9 times out of 10, gets hit pretty hard by a Rock Slide if it's not a bulky variant. We also have the U-turn for momentum. We can get like a nice Volt Turn thing going with Mega Manetric and Lando, as well as Psychic. Psychic is really only there for the Roserade. It also hits Komodo, but again, I don't really expect to see Komodo. But I mean, if it is there, then like, yeah, the Psychic's gonna be pretty nice. It's also a pretty safe bet to go for against like the Tornadus if it's like in low health range and I don't want to miss, like, don't want to chance the Rock Slide miss, then I can just go for Psychic. So I mean, it's all around just a solid 4th move to have in this game. Moving on, we got Debbie the Kingdra. Last time I actually ran Scarf Swift Swim Kingdra against him. I didn't want to do that again. Even though I didn't reveal it in the battle, I did tell him about that set like after the game, and I didn't want him to predict that. So I actually go Assault Vest just like Kyogre, EV to take the same hits like the 2 Thunderbolts from Alolan Raichu and Tapu Koko with terrain up. And I actually just have double stab, just 2 different variants like Surf and Hydro Pump, as well as Dragon Pulse and Draco Meteor, because I don't really think that I need anything else in this battle. Like, you know, I only really needed like Ice Beam for the Roserade and the Komodo, which get hit really hard by Dragon Pulse or Draco Meteor anyway. So I just decide these are the moves I need. Like Surf and Hydro Pump just hit his team ridiculously hard anyway, outside of Jellicent, which doesn't really eat too many Draco Meteors if it's like low health. So I don't really need anything else outside of these moves. Not really too much else to say here. It has enough speed to outspeed a Scarf Tornadus Therian. I couldn't outspeed Scarf Tapu Koko because I'm short by just 1 point of speed, which is really frustrating. Like, I believe Scarf Koko ends up getting to like 591, and Kingdra maxes at 590. But that is that set, and I was kind of up for debate with what I wanted to do with my Necrozma set, but I ended up deciding that a defensive, like just max defense, max HP set would probably be best to switch in on Mamoswine and Mega Metagross. As I said, I don't have a lot that switches in on those well, so this thing is going to have a pretty important job of just being that defensive wall. Leftovers, I actually was going to run, I think, Psychium Z on this, like maybe like Z Photon Geyser, just to like nuke something on his team pretty hard with that Psychic move, because his only real Psychic or like Psychium switch-in is Metagross, which doesn't appreciate the incoming Earth Power all that much. But I figure if I can get Stealth Rocks up, Morning Sun is kind of questionable because it is weakened by Rain, but if Rain is not up, then this thing will definitely be pretty difficult for him to get past with his matchup, I think. Yeah, not really much else to say there. Another reason I was going to run Psychium is just like a switch-in on the Mamoswine knockoff better, but I just ended up deciding that Leftovers would probably be more helpful in this battle. So let's go ahead and get into the game and check out the matchup. So we see that he brings just about everything that I expected to see outside of the Alolan Raichu, which I was definitely relieved to see no Alolan Raichu just because it does a lot to my team. I really had to prep hard for that. But yeah, no Alolan Raichu. Everything else that we did expect, we see Roserade, Koko, Mamoswine, Mega Metagross, Tornadus, and Jellicent. Last time I remember he led with Tornadus, so this time I'm thinking I might just lead with Mega Manectric because it deals with Tornadus, it deals with Jellicent. Overheat hits the Metagross really hard. If he leads Koko, I get that the terrain boosted Volt Switch, which is really nice, and I can also overheat on the Roserade if I wanted to. So I figure Mega Manectric is a good lead so long as he doesn't lead Mamoswine, and we see he actually does lead Mamoswine, so I just go for the Protect here. I can Mega Evolve and give him that Intimidate drop, and that would make Necrozma a supremely good switch in to the Earthquake that this Mamoswine wants to go for, but he actually goes for the knockoff here and immediately gets rid of the leftovers, and I knew I should have ran Psychium, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. I just decided to go for the Stealth Rocks right here as he goes into Tornadus. I figure Klefki switches in really well on Tornadus so long as he doesn't have Heat Wave. He actually goes for the U-turn here. Even if he did have Heat Wave, this is like really Spadef invested Klefki, so it wouldn't have died to Heat Wave there by any means. But yeah, he brings in Tapu Koko, which is definitely a huge threat to my team, so I decided to just go for that Prankster Toxic here and start whittling it down. Hope I don't get hit too hard. I know I can live anything. He actually goes for the Calm Mind, which is terrifying. So I make a kind of like weird series of plays here. First, I decided to go for the Light Screen, just so I can ensure that I live a couple more hits and stall him down a little bit more with the Toxic. And he just keeps setting up Calm Minds. So I figure now he has to go for another Calm Mind if he actually wants to do a lot of damage. So I go for a Spike here, just set that up. And now that he's at +3, I know he doesn't want me to keep getting up more and more spikes. So he's not going to go for like an HP Ice because he has to get rid of this thing. So I switch into Landorus to let the Toxic damage stack a little bit more. As I do actually predict correctly, he goes for the Thunderbolt. If he had predicted that and gone HP Ice there, then Bash is just like a supreme lord for that prediction. But I really did not expect him to go for HP Ice right there. So you see, this turn's pretty crucial because I do go for the Earth Power and get a critical hit, which at the time I did not think mattered. But Bash did reveal that he was like max HP, max Spadef, or like some really weird set like that, with like some speed investment to outspeed something. I don't really remember exactly, but it was enough to live an Earth Power when he was at max HP, so long as I wasn't a Life Orb variant, which you guys know I was Scarf. So with the +3, he definitely lived that Earth Power without the crit, and would have killed me with HP Ice. He would have just died to Toxic damage right after, but he definitely could have gotten the Landorus out of the way for the entire game, which would have been really, really crucial for his team, I think, because Landorus just kind of runs shop on his team, besides like the Mamoswine with Ice Shard, so that's really unfortunate. I do apologize for that. I'm not really too sure how things would have played out differently if Landorus did go down there, but we'll see. But I go into Klefki when the Tornadus comes in. He actually just defaults away my screen, my spikes, and my Stealth Rock. It's a real big, beefy default right there. And this was kind of a weird turn, I think, because he actually goes for a U-turn instead of hard switching out, which allows Klefki to get a Toxic and put this thing on a timer, decreasing its longevity, which is kind of weird. But yeah, he just goes for the U-turn here. I guess maybe he expected me to switch out or something. But he goes into Mamoswine, and I just go for the Reflect to eat the incoming Earthquake and to support the team a little bit better. And I decided to go for Toxic here and just sack off Klefki, because this will allow me to, 1, whittle down like a really big threat to my team, and 2, bring in Kyogre. And Kyogre behind, like Assault Vest Kyogre with a Reflect up is really terrifying for any team to deal with, but especially his. So I really did not expect him to stay in with a Mamoswine here, so I just go right for the Thunder. And like I make that hard prediction just because, as I said before, Mamoswine is really like his only way to get rid of Landorus at this point, now that he doesn't have the HP Ice Tapu Koko around. Unless that's like Ice Punch Mega Metagross, or like Scarf HP Ice Roserade or something. And even then, like the Metagross, if I chip it down, goes down to the Earth Power. So like he really needs that Mamoswine to stick around to stop Landorus from just like wrecking shop on his team. So I do predict that switch into the Water Absorb Jellicent and just go for a Thunder. He goes for a Protect on this next turn to get some leftovers damage back, which is a smart move by Bash. And I just keep going for Thunder because I think like there's no way he's gonna bring the Mamoswine back in. Like he has no reason to. I actually forgot though that Roserade switches in well on this Thunder and on any water move, which he does bring in. And he goes for the Leaf Storm. I decide to stay in because Assault Vest lets me eat that. You see that only does 50%. He reveals a Yachi Berry, and I get a freeze, and I feel really, really bad, but he actually thaws out immediately, so it's not as big of a deal as I thought it was. Goes for a Leaf Storm again, takes me down to like about a fourth of my max health. Origin Pulse, he lives on 1, and I was like annoyed for a second, and then I kind of like flashback to the Tapu Koko crit, and I'm like, okay, I can't really be too mad about that. So I decided to actually switch out here and go into Necrozma instead of letting Kyogre go down there, because it is good for getting Rain back up later in the game, and this allows me to just heal Necrozma back up to full and get my wall back up to a decent position to deal with the Metagross and the Mamoswine. He brings in Tornadus, and I decide to just go for Stealth Rocks here so he can't bring the Roserade back in later in the game and do some annoying stuff. But he actually U-turns out and goes right back into the Roserade as I set up rocks. So I just go for Morning Sun here, let him go for the Leaf Storm and ruin his special attack again. I can just heal back up without a problem. And he starts firing off Sludge Bombs as I try to heal up again. And so I decided, like, I don't want to play games around the Sludge Bomb 30% poison chance, because this is like my main answer to Metagross and Mamoswine. So I decided to get rid of it here instead of like being petty and get that extra 10% health. I figure like 67% isn't bad, but he actually brings in the Tornadus here. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I haven't seen a Scarf, I haven't seen like a Life Orb or Specs or like, you know, anything like that. You know, I'm not seeing like leftovers, and I really didn't think that he was like Assault Vest either in this match. So I was like, he's probably like Flyinium, like Supersonic Sky Strike, but I don't have my reliable Klefki switch in anymore, and I really don't want to let Mega Manectric get too whittled down in this match just yet. So I decided to stay in with Necrozma here and just hope he's not Sky Strike, which he is, and that just obliterates my wall. And I was really upset here because I was like, okay, I really should have just sacked Kyogre to get the Rain back up or something here, because I don't have anything now to deal with Mamoswine or the Metagross, which are just huge threats to my team. Like, I don't have any switch in to them anymore, so I'm gonna really have to play carefully around these things for the rest of this game. So I decided I just go into Mega Manectric here, and I go for Overheat because, like, if you let me back up, if you look at his health, like, taking an Overheat plus the toxic damage is definitely not something that he really wants to do. It also covers the Mamoswine switch-in, which, as you guys saw for a quick second, he does actually go into the Mamoswine here. So Overheat was my play, I think, like, every single time here. You see, this does, like, nothing to this thing, though. Like, 37%, and that's because, again, he has, like, the Thick Fat, and I actually see that's also Assault Vest damage. So I go for Protect here, and just let, like, the toxic damage build up a little bit more. And right here, I don't want to let Mamoswine, or I don't want to let Manectric go down, so I just sack off Kyogre and set the Rain up again, which gives me a pretty free switch into Kingdra here. As Mamoswine's toxic takes him down to really low health, I can just bring in Kingdra here, and he doesn't really have too many great switch-ins. I just go for Dragon Pulse as he goes for the Ice Shard. I don't want to go for the Water move because he can just bring in Jellicent and get the Water Absorb, and that's going to be really annoying to deal with for the rest of the game. So he actually does bring in Jellicent here, and I reveal the Draco Meteor. I don't know if he expected me to like be the Scarf set that I was last time, or if he just didn't think that I would have Draco there, but Draco did kill from that range like 100% of the time. So it's really nice to get rid of that annoying thing. Didn't really get to do too much in this matchup. I don't think it got to do too much last time either, which was nice, because it definitely had the potential to screw over my team. But he brings in the Mega Metagross here, and he reveals Agility, which is really terrifying because we have like a double speed Mega Metagross, and he gets a critical hit Meteor Mash, which I don't really think mattered that much because I think it would have like two-shot me anyway. But at this point of the game, I'm like freaking out because like Surf is doing nothing and I can't really switch out to anything safely. So I just keep going for Surf to try to whittle him down, and he's going for the Meteor Mash to get the attack boost, You see he goes for another Meteor Mash here. And I think I'm safe, but no, he gets the attack boost, so now I'm like really panicking. But then I was like, oh, you know, it's fine, because I actually messed up the calc here. Basically, I put Mega Metagross at -1 from the Intimidate drop, as well as like leaving Intimidate as the ability on Mega Manectric, which essentially calced it at like -2 Mega Metagross instead of like 1 drop. So I thought I was a lot safer than I was, but I do go for Protect here to kind of scout for the Earthquake, so that way maybe I can like play some mind games with him and see if he'll like over predict, like maybe like reveal Earthquake and then go for like an Ice Punch, thinking that I'm gonna switch into like Landorus or something. But we see his answer is Zen Headbutt, and my calc, again, I messed up the calc terribly, and it showed like it's only doing like 60% or something like that, like max like 65% or something, max damage. So I'm just hoping I don't get flinched. But we see he actually gets like 96%, and I was like, oh my god, like this thing hits way too hard, and I realized I messed up my calc. But there is no flinch, and we go for the Overheat and live that safely as he brings in the Tornadus, and I can just go for Protect to let the toxic damage build up a little bit more, and I can just Volt Switch out of there and go right into my Landorus, and again let the toxic damage build up a little bit more. I don't really need toxic damage at this point, but it's just nice, I guess, just to make sure, you know, help me feel a little bit safer about this Scarf Psychic picking up the kill. And that is going to be GG to Bash. Very close game. Like, Bash gives me very, very intense matches, like, every time. And I really feel bad about the Tapu Koko crit. Like I said, I don't know exactly how things would have played out, because like my entire series of plays would have been different. I'm sure his would have as well if I didn't have the Landorus. But that definitely did change something, I'm sure. So I apologize for that. But when you really, really think about it, like it's kind of Bash's fault, because like he could have just ran Lucky Chant Alolan Raichu. No, I'm just messing with you, Bash. I'm just messing. You should have ran that Lucky Chant, dude. But yeah, I do feel bad, but that is going to be GG to Bash, and we are moving to the finals. I'm not really sure if I'm going to record finals or not, but I might. I don't know yet. If you guys show enough support on this video, maybe I will. If you guys aren't subscribed to my channel yet, please go ahead and do that, because every subscription is greatly appreciated. Leave a like, comment your reactions or thoughts on the battle. Call me a giant scumbag for getting that crit, or whatever you guys want to do. Just leave a comment. You know, I'm a real chill dude. I usually respond to you guys. And check my description, because I've been forgetting to say this like with the last 2 Pokemon videos I uploaded a couple months ago. But you know, whatever songs I do use, I do put them in the description, so I can kind of show off some music creators. They're all very talented people, so be sure to go show them some love. And with that, it has been me, Sketch AB, coming to the out. Peace.